Today, I'm going to review 3 small digital cameras or pen cameras from the early 2000s. This type of camera was a low-cost option for capturing images on a moment when digital cameras were still quite expensive. The concept pen comes from the odd shape they have that makes them look like a neuralizer device from the movie Men in Black. Designed more as a toy than as a camera, they are a live testimony of the evolution of the technology and how we would pay for things that today can be considered total garbage. It's true that they might not seem very useful today, but I would like to explore their capabilities and perhaps to make something cool with them. These cameras cover a time span from 2002 to 2010. There are, of course, much more models out there and perhaps more interesting, but given that I had this sitting on a drawer for years, I thought that perhaps would be nice to make a project with them. The first camera that we're going to see is this Chinese model HE501, and that's everything I know about it. This is perhaps the simplest, oddest camera you might find in 2002. With 250 kilobytes of memory and 0.1 megapixels and a capacity for only 19 photos. These specifications might sound ridiculous today, but in 2002, some people paid 60 euro for this camera, because hey, digital photos were the new cool thing. This camera does not have flash memory, so removing the batteries will remove all the features as well. The functionality is very easy too. With only 2 buttons, we can navigate through some basic functions such as quality, delete image, or shutdown, and we have another button for taking the picture. It came with a driver disc that it's a blessing given the difficulty of finding drivers today for rare devices like this. The second camera is this Quickpix PQ3 that I found in a thrift store. It's clearly more modern, and it claims to have 1.3 megapixels, which sounds pretty decent. Also is able to record videos and has a better quality lens that you can adjust manually to focus properly the objects in the distance. The design is pretty similar to the previous camera, with similar screen and buttons. That makes me think if it was a common design of that type of cameras. Overall, is a cute and small device that I can't wait to see in action. The third camera is this sports camera, which is basically a Chinese predecessor of what it would be the well-known GoPro. It's clearly designed for sports and it's waterproof. I don't think this would qualify as a pen camera, but given the similarities, I decided to include it on this review. It will save all the data in micro SD cards and has a rechargeable battery. All functions have to be done via these 3 buttons, and each color will indicate what the camera is doing. It's not very intuitive, and sometimes the lights are hard to see on daylight. Something interesting is that it has an embedded lighting system that you can turn on, I guess to record at night. But it's not very powerful to actually be useful. Also, the poor quality of the lenses makes the light to reflect and to make an ugly ghost effect. So, after this introduction, I think it's the moment to go outside and give a try to these cameras to see how they perform. Well, I'm back from a ride with my bike and from taking a few images with each of the cameras. To look at them, I will use a computer with Windows 2000. Other than the sports camera that has an SD card, I need a machine compatible with the drivers, or I won't be able to download any picture. Obviously, none of them had drivers for Windows 10. The HE camera comes with a very simple set of software that includes a download tool and a webcam application that can also capture video. Downloading the photos is simple and fast. However, the quality is quite disappointing. These are some of the images that I capture. Other than the low resolution of 384 by 288, they look like taken from a horror movie. I like the Lomo effect, but the definition is so low and the quality very poor in general. Even for a simple camera like this, I was expecting better quality. It's hard to actually recognize what's in the photo sometimes. Look at this image compared with another made with my cell phone. Let's continue with the Quickpix camera. I have to say that finding the drivers for this camera was extremely difficult, and I almost given up. It's supposed to have a nice collection of software, but the disk was missing in the box. The way the download process works is very similar to the previous one. In this case, the quality of the images is more consistent, and it's what I would expect for a 1.5 megapixels camera. The videos are 640 by 480 in size, which is also not too bad. The problem is that the frame rate is not very high, and as you can see here, the image jumps a lot. The third camera is clearly designed for video and to be attached to a bike or a helmet. It also records video at 640 by 480, but at a better frame rate. However, seems impossible to get rid of the date and time in the corner. One advantage is that with the use of SD cards, we can record for hours with no issues other than the length of the battery. The photos are the same resolution than the video, and basically they look like a still frame of the video. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this review as much as I did playing with these obsolete cameras. Before finishing, I always like to give some use to all electronics, so I got the idea to make a decent video project with these cameras, especially the HE501. That could be quite challenging due to the poor quality, but with some creativity, I think something can be done. What do you think? Can something be done? Well, stay tuned to see more.